Yes, 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 yes. What's going on, man? Let's turn this down. Always remember. Let me know you can hear me on YouTube, man. Whatever you think about comes about. And I promise, whatever you put your focus on, that's what grows, that's what expands in your life, man. And I promise you this, you can be more, do more, have more. This world is abundant. You might have to fight a little bit. This right here is a pattern. I have a few concepts that I believe in this world. This is and it's that price, when this comes to the stock market, a lot of ways to be involved in the stock market. A lot of people come at it differently. I think most of us come at it about the same time, same age, unless you're lucky. And for some reason, your brain ticks different than other people. And I've come to believe that let's be careful judging people, man. Some people's brains just don't catch to it. It doesn't click to it. No more than mechanics or art or music. Now, the one thing about the market, though, and one thing before I forget, don't forget, Big Daddy, Uncle Daddy Warren. I don't know if you've seen the show Claws. You ever get that damn bored that you watch the series Claws? Uncle Daddy. Well, that's Warren Buffett. Uncle Daddy, news about Warren Buffett and talks about banking crisis. Yeah, me too, man. That's what I'm thinking about too. News about Full Auto 11 looking at banking crisis. And I don't have the money that Uncle Daddy has, so I got to come at it from a different way. Let me know you can hear me on Instagram before I mute you dirty degenerates. Degenerates. Bitcoin's for the degenerates, by the way. Maybe you're too good, man. Maybe you're like one of the goody two-shoes, so you don't own any Bitcoin. It's beneath me, Gerald. It's beneath me. Back to Uncle Daddy. Uncle Daddy is in contacts with the Warren Buffett in contact with Biden team on crisis. Me too, man. I'm looking at the ETF called KRE. KRE is a banking ETF that covers the regional banks of America. Now, the science of getting rich says that money is formed out of formless substance. That's this. Guess where Bitcoin is? Formless substance. It's made from code, my man. Code. Bitcoin came from code, man. It's just human energy. That's why you don't understand it. Not your mama and daddy's money. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated, Warren Buffett has been in touch with senior officials in Joe Biden's administration in recent days as regional banking crisis unfolds. What do you think Uncle Daddy says, hey man, I got $100 billion. Who needs some? I thought he's supposed to be scared. Why? Remember what I said last week? You should be rushing it into the fire. I had a guy contact me and was like, Gerald, I think that's very irresponsible advice. Okay, then why is Warren Buffett on the phone with the president? He's rushing into the fire. Uncle Daddy's not waiting. There have been multiple conversations between Biden's team and Buffett in the past week. I love Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is the greatest oracle to human society there has ever been, and he didn't charge you a penny. The mentorship, the fellowship, the wisdom, the guidance that this man offers, completely free of charge. Now, there's some shit about Warren Buffett I don't like. I don't like the fact that he's always eating ice cream. That's weird. I can't imagine being on an interview and I'm sitting there eating an ice cream cone. That's when you don't give a fuck. You're so rich, you just go on TV with ice cream. Warren Buffett will do that. And if you ever listen to Buffett, I listen to Buffett. Anytime the richest trader in the world talks, I'm like, what's he saying? It's free. You got people that will pay to go see a YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber, by the way. There's people who come pay to see me. Never even read what Uncle Daddy gives out free, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't pay to come see me and you don't read what Buffett puts out free. That don't make no sense. Warren Buffett rushes into the fire. He ain't stupid. He's looking at this chart and he's like, oh, Jesus, look at this. That's right out of the money flow, man. I bought Gerald's book last week and look, big stage 4 decline. Well, what is a stage 4 decline? I got this ebook out there called How to Be 10 Foot Tall and Bulletproof to make you fucking bigger, taller, faster, and way better looking. And some of you know me and don't own that book. Don't call yourself my friend if you don't have my book, The 22 Selves, man. And that's about expanding your own vision. Most of the great things in life come after work, by the way. I mean, you ain't going to get great working, man. That's average people shit. Told a guy that at a party the other day. He's like, what's up? I said, man, if you just work a job, you're always going to be broke. Nobody gets rich having a job, bro. Now, I'm at a party, and he's like, well, they don't know what to say to that. I was like, if you guys want to get rich, you ain't doing that. It's what you do after, man. It's the shit you put to work so that when you're at work, it's working. That's right from Warren Buffett, man. So back to Uncle Daddy. Warren Buffett in talks about banking crisis. Well, he saw in the money flow that when price breaks above this green line, look up here. Uh-oh. I got too many controls going. Full auto team, get your shit together. Too many controls going. We look for a thing called the anchor point. What's the anchor point? Anchor point is what they call the uncle point. That's where Uncle Daddy starts to look because that's possibly the bottom. And you say, how do you know it's the bottom? Man, they just blow out. Price straight down. And there's this thing called the mean. And everybody knows what mean is. And mean, let me just simplify it for you and take you a different direction. You see that yellow line? I know you didn't get very far in math class. Nobody's going to hold that against you. Today, we don't need to know. I met a dude one time at Subway, and I said, man, what's your degree? And he said, history. I said, why? Are you like Indiana Jones? No, I was going to teach history. No, you're not. AI is going to teach history. You're going to be obsolete. You'd be more money making these sandwiches that a robot's probably going to make in 10 years. Matter of fact, New Orleans just put in a robot restaurant. I went to it. I was hoping it was good because I hate going to restaurants and they fuck up the order. Nothing makes me madder than spending $200 and you can't get it right. Like, it's not that hard to just do it the way it was fucking ordered and then look at it and go, is this what was ordered? And then 2 people. That's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. 16 blockchains, man, or 16 blocks. Like, to confirm Bitcoin, 16 people look at it. It's never wrong. But you go to a restaurant half the time, DoorDash can't even get it right. Somehow between ordering, the person that makes it, and the person that delivers it, it's not right. How many lines of check did it have to go through to make it? Why would you ever deliver an order that wasn't right? I don't understand, man. You better hold yourself to a higher standard. All you guys delivering shit that's wrong, you're going to stay poor. Because you don't give a fuck about your job. I told a lady that once. Until you care about other people, you're never going to make any money, man. Which means she has to go the extra mile and make sure shit she's delivering is correct. But I digress. Now, you're just like, what are you talking about, Joe? That's the kind of proficient trading I want. Don't execute a trade if it ain't perfect. Why not? Why not demand that of yourself? So as we follow the banking crisis, this is the pattern, man. And I know how to follow the stock market. It's just like football. Open up a chart, turn on CNBC. This is all you got to do. So one of the ways that I stay in flow of price is I just fucking have CNBC on a lot. Sometimes the volume's down, I'm listening to music, but it's always around me. I'm always checking Bitcoin. I'm always looking at where the futures. Man, what are the Chinese doing? Let's see. And I just kind of stay in flow. And it's not work. It's just being GP. Like if you want to be me, you got to know where Bitcoin is. So when I wake up, that's just part of my life, man. It's not something that, oh, I got to put on my shoes. Oh, every day with the shoes. No, man. Oh, boom. Just like putting on shoes, I check Bitcoin. Just like you got in the shower. What am I doing? I'm like, man, you see what's going on with these banks? That is a stage 4 decline. Now, the money flow has 6 layers to it. And layer number 1, relative strength index. Now, listen, the most important thing in the world is price. I didn't even cuss, man. You keep going, G. You're doing great. Listen, trying to explain the money flow to you, man. I'm going to try to tell you what your daddy didn't know. This is the very bottom of the recent banking crisis. Uncle Daddy, where's he at? Let's read this. You better pay attention. Richest man in the world is, get off your ass and get your eyes on the chart. Listen. You better do it, man. You cannot let this event pass and you don't get some fucking piece of it. Now, I cussed in church because I was getting mad because I could feel people drifting. There have been, you see, a lot of times, once you meet me, man, I have people who come meet me in person. From then on, I fucking demand things of you. Meaning I'm going to be disappointed. I expect when I meet you, you tell me how much richer you are. You're like, what do you mean? Meaning I anticipate that. I expect that. What are you going to do? Go back and be poorer? That's the problem with getting to meet me. Then I fucking text you out of the blue. What's up, man? Did you buy that house or did you puss out? Be careful. And you go, oh, I want to be your friend. Do you? Are you sure you want that shit show in your life, sir? Because I'm not your daddy. Meaning I'm going to hold you fucking accountable to what you say to me. And if you don't do it, I'm going to tell you you didn't do it. That makes people not have a lot of friends, by the way. But the ones you got are rich. That's pretty nice, man. I like going to dinner and arguing over who's paying. Now, the other friends, I know I'm paying. You better get some, though, that could easily pay for it. There have been multiple conversations between Biden's team and Buffett in the past week, according to people familiar. Oh, by the way, you should hold yourself to that accountable. You better have some more Bitcoin soon. According to people familiar with the matter who asked not to be identified, don't tell them who we are, bro, because the information is private. Oh, it's private. We're going to do private deals. Nobody knows the banks are crashing right now. Nobody knows how to read charts or possibly spot the bottom. Or my God, look at that. Warren Buffett doesn't call until the RSI goes extreme. How did he ever know? Okay, this private situation that has taken one ETF and smashed it by 55 fucking... It's not private, by the way, Uncle Daddy. We all know about it. The calls have been centered around Buffett possibly investing in U.S. regional banking sector. What do you think you should be thinking about? Now, let me preference something. Warren Buffett's a shark. People think he's a grandpa eating ice cream on TV, telling inappropriate sexual jokes, by the way. If you ever listen to Buffett, he tells a lot of them. They're not crude, though. That's why he gets away with it. And he's old. Who the fuck's going to say something to a billionaire with ice cream? And he's an old man. Nobody. Listen to some of the jokes he says. Now, this is the gangster shit of Warren Buffett. He'll pretend like he's helping you. Hey, man, why don't you let us watch your store? You pay me $100 a month, nobody's going to rob this store. If you don't pay me, good chance you're going to get robbed. That's called extortion. That's when Buffett comes in. But the way he does it, it's not illegal. He waits till the RSI goes extreme. And then he's like, man, I got a bunch of money. What do you guys need? Oh, all you need is money? So as I watch this, I can't cut sweetheart deals like that. I'm not a stock gangster. Peter Thiel, crash your fucking bank. Sends a tweet. People start to run on it. Maybe he's short the bank. I don't know. Man, I don't know. I don't know how that's not being investigated. But here's an anchor point. Lowest point of the recent sell-off in the stage 4 decline in KRE, which is regional banks. They're down about 50% this year to keep the math simple. It's put in a bottom. During the last week, a lot of people antsy. This is where you got to feel the money flow, baby. You notice I just keep mentioning it on my little charts, my little books, my little notebooks. I'm just playing with it right now. Why? We got to pet it, man. You can't just take a lady home, man. Look, this is this. We got to finesse this. We got to poke around a little bit. What banks? Why? What are we doing? Letting some shit unfold because I don't know everything. I'm not a stock gangster. I don't have inside information. What I do know is this is the lowest low, and this thing was way the fuck up here. Now it's way down here. If this sector, I'm going to take you back to my days in oil. I lost about half my Discord group. Got called all kinds of names as I told people buy Exxon at 50, then 40, then 30, then 25, all the way down. I'm like, buy Exxon. It is impossible for planet Earth to exist without this sector. Let me say something. In America, if this sector goes completely under, if the regional banks collapse in America, we are double fucked. If the regional banks in America collapse, all shit's off, we are double fucked. It is a Great Depression. And I pause for emphasis. They cannot let that happen. Now, there's a lot of conspiracies. They're pushing people, inadvertently, they are pushing people into the big banks, which we tried to split up before. So it makes a lot of sense. This is the problem when you start just doling out shit. There's unintended consequences, ripple effects, man. So you may have the best cause in the world. Okay, let's do this because that'd be a good cause. Cool. Now 8 other people die over here from a ripple effect of your dumb decision. That's what happens, man. Anytime they intervene, you got people now wanting free money. Give them free money. Watch the inflation that runs from that. Worst thing you could do to a poor person is give them a bunch of money. They're just going to be richly poor, man. You're going to run out and spend every damn penny. All that's going to do is make the rich richer. Because now who do you think is going to end up with all that money? During the days of the great virus, they handed out money everywhere. Fucking Sheba went to the moon. You think people are going to take that money and go do responsible things and pay off their debt and buy a house? No. They're going to spend the shit out of it and give it back to me. Because they're not following no banking stocks. They're not following the S&P 500. They're not giving a shit about interest rates. They live paycheck to paycheck. That's the people in this chart, man. You better get a hold of that. You're like, what do you mean? There's them and us. And I'm not talking about sex or race. I don't give a fuck what your sex or race is. I'm talking about money. Money. Knowledge. Meaning you could be white, you could be female, you could be whatever. If you understand interest, you understand interest. If you understand investing, you understand investing. Don't give me no bullshit about where you come from. You now fucking know. It's right here. In the Bible, God said, when they tell you about me, you're going to be held a little bit more accountable. So now we're in an age where this shit's free. Come over here to Google. Listen to this.
What happened to create the problems that these two banks
This is Yoda.
faced, and
banking crisis.
System and supervision is
This is the honorable
geared so that banks manage
JLY
to avoid problems of the type that these banks have suffered from.
Senator Bennett, thank you, and thank.
You know what she's talking about right now? Yoda's talking about this right here. I don't know if you noticed, she's a very short, weird-looking woman. Yoda, that's who's in charge, man. Anybody can do this. Anybody's invited to the party. This is the low right now. It's the low for everyone. $42 on the KRE, Regional Banking ETF, holds a whole bunch of stocks. This is a stage 4 decline. This chart is a window into the soul. Each one of these bars, I know a lot of you guys use candlesticks. We could change this to candlesticks if it made you feel better. Well, price went below this green line, right there. Now, what I want you to see even more is the opposite of that is over here. Stay with me, man. I'm fixing to drop. Stay with me. This here is what I call a pattern. Now, it's not as easy as some people like to make it. Well, red line calls blue line. No. If it's that fucking easy, everybody'd be rich. All right? So it's not a line crossing a line, moving average crossover. Now, it's easy to get fixated on that because that's something easily to identify, okay? But you really should be able to remove these and you see it. And I would highly encourage you to do this. We've been day trading in our Discord group in just the TQ in the fast money trades section. And what I would encourage you to do is don't use real money, man, because the way you do it may differ. The purpose is to focus on the activity. Come in, don't use real money, man. Paper trade that shit and electronically, so it's not bullshit. Don't write it down. Oh, I would have done this. I would. No. Click the button. Click the button, and you can set it up. And if you come in every day for an hour, try this exercise. And you watch price, and you're watching it, say, on a 3-minute, a 15-minute, and a 1 hour. And inside of that time continuum of price moving, I'm watching this. This is ultimately what I'm trying to see. Price moving sideways, we call that accumulation. Price breaks and runs up, we call that an uptrend or markup. Price pauses, and in these pause sections, I call pivot points, or some people call them pivot points, but I call it an anchor and an apex so that we understand the difference between the 1 and the 3. The anchor is the point. Think of a boat dropping the anchor. Bam! Now watch. Stay with me, man. $42. Bam! Anchor dropped. Now, how do you know it dropped? The rest of the days are higher. Come on, man. The rest of the days are higher, man. Let that sink in. You're like, what do you mean? Guys, this is the Uncle Daddy bat signal. Look at this setup. Look at the relative strength index. You're like, well, what is that? Google it, dummy. Don't ask obvious questions. You know what? Man, I get that so much, man. I get that so much. One time I was trying to explain this to a kid that rents from me. I'm like, look, there's problems, and then there's things that really aren't problems. And if you contact, say, someone like your landlord with every little fucking problem, the windows, smurry, it won't come off with the Windex. Door handle jingles a little bit in the, and I was like, those are legitimate things. Maybe try to fix it. And he's like, well, I'm a renter. I know. I'm giving you some life advice, son. You could call me. Absolutely. Call me all you want. Now, I might not renew your lease because I find you fucking annoying, but you could do that. And there's some places where they're like, well, you can't do that. Yeah, you can. So life advice, I'm trying to give him life advice. Don't be annoying. Okay? This, man, I just saved somebody right there, man. Last thing you want to be is annoying to a bank, to your landlord, or to your girlfriend. Anchor. This is the very bottom. How do we know it's the bottom? Well, that's one day. Now, not to mention, it was like a giant reversal signal, meaning price basically closed where it opened, and it gyrated higher and lower. And what this begins to do is to create what I call a box. And a box is the beginning of what we call a stage. And a stage is just a repeatable pattern inside a price. And I draw it with these lines so that you can see it easier. Down here is the anchor. So look, down it went. Bam. Look at that. And so what I'm saying is that convergence, divergence of stage 4 and 1 right there. And when you can just see that, you don't need that. You don't even need a fucking indicator. I don't need an indicator to see where the 20-day is. I can look at 20 bars and tell you where it is. And you say, well, how do you do that? You look at price a lot. You ever do that on a day off? I know some of you probably never done this. I do it almost every day, and it gives me I think a unique advantage is I watch all 6.5 hours of this game every fucking day. People are at work, they're distracted, they're driving. I get it. I understand that. I'm just telling you what I do. And I just watch this all day. If you've ever met me, 2 o'clock, you call me, you say, what are you doing? Man, I'm sitting here watching the XL, the USO, man. I'm watching oil here. And I'm noticing that we're on a Uncle Daddy moment where the RSI just went extreme. Now, I just dumped this as a trade right here. And you say, why'd you do that? I had to, man. It was breaking support, man. And if you look at that configuration right there, listen up, man. If you look at that configuration right there, it looks a lot like this. That's going the wrong way. And that's a trade, and I'm leveraged ERX, 2 times leveraged oil, and I don't like the direction. Hit the button. Hit the button. You say, maybe I can't. You can do it. You can do anything. You are capable of being disciplined. A beast. An animal. Savage. A leader among people. Take a loss. Click the button. Next trade. You just eat it. Fuck that trade. Fuck that stock, man. You ever hear me say that? I used to say it all the time. People misunderstood what I was saying. Some of them got it. Fuck that stock, man. Don't give a fuck what that stock did. Why? I don't know. Man, I'm so into what I do, I don't give a fuck what they do. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's 10-foot tall bulletproof stuff, man. That's why you got to have my eBook, man. Why I got to beg you to buy it? $27. Price of a sandwich, I could raise you 3 feet. Price of a sandwich, man. Stage 4 decline going down in there. Now, you might have enough money. You're like, I don't give a fuck. Let it come down. Cool. All right, I'm trading. So I don't buy and invest in leveraged oil things because oil can go to fucking zero. So I don't want to do that. I've got other things I'm looking at. Like I'm long gold right now. Now, gold's going the right direction. So let's stop the one going the wrong direction, raise some capital so that we can focus on the one going the right direction, and maybe now we trim this. So if you remember, we trimmed some of this. Now you're like, I'm confused. You sold a loser and a winner. Yeah, man. We're raising capital. Why? To trade other things that might be going up, man. Now look, got the Uncle Daddy warning sign. RSI went 72. That's the opposite of 30. That's the opposite. See how simple trading can be? A, B. What about the middle? Don't give a fuck. I only care about A and B. B and A. B. What about the middle? Don't give a fuck. See how easy? You just had a master class in how to read the RSI, man. I hope you're paying attention. This pattern right here is the money flow, man. Look, man. There's the stage. I'm going to show you another one right here. Now, you're going to see these little pop-ups. You see that right there? That's called fake breakout, man. This is a phenomenon that happens inside of the stock market where price breaks out literally to reverse the next day. Now, this can fuck with people. Well, the market's being manipulated. No shit, bro. You think wow. Thanks for the insight. That always cracks me up when I hear it when people are new this time. They're like, man, I think it's being manipulated. Bro, it's been manipulated since the day they started it, man. Fuck are you talking? I mean, come on, man. Of course it's manipulated. Of course it's manipulated. Why? I don't know. Did you get to call? Let's see. There have been multiple conversations between the Biden team and Buffett in the past week. According to people familiar with the matter, boy, I wish I was one of those people. Imagine if you were one of my people. Every time that I did something, I'd tell you. And you can do what you want with it. That's these people. Listen, there have been multiple conversations between Biden's team and Buffett in the past week, according to people familiar with the matter who asked not to be identified. That's MFG, because the information is private. Exactly. Don't matter what you do with it, between me and you. I don't know what you do with it. I ain't got no inside scoop. Meaning Buffett don't know where banks are going. If Buffett would have known that, he'd have been short, then cover, and then long, and he'd own all the money in the world. He don't, man. He's just waiting for the Big Daddy alert signal. So as he's watching price, and then he sees it getting just donkey punched, he's like, what's going on? Starts doing a little bit of research, and there's analysts. Those are people right here. They just said it. People in the know. People who are familiar with the matter are asked not to be identified because the information is private. Means he has a proprietary method. I don't know if it was the RSI. I think the RSI goes alert a lot of times when Buffett's doing something, though. Just saying. See, I'm not in that group. So I need whatever else I can get. RSI is just one thing. It's not infallible. It doesn't even mean it's the bottom. It usually just means right now it's the bottom. Now I want to show you a concept. Where's it at? Oh, I didn't save that one, did I? Now, I flipped to a different chart. This is Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is a American stock based on I'm guessing this thing is based out of California somewhere. We're going to look at some anchors. These are anchor points. Now, I'm looking in the past, okay? Past performance is not indicative of future results. They're different. Meaning I don't know where it's going. I don't. But here's what I do know. Kind of looks the same sometimes. So I play off that. You could play off of it. Now, the easier and quicker, this is the unknown. And I had a guy made... you can make a fortune with the same strategy that someone else loses money on. You might say, well, how is that possible? They might trade something different than you. They might trade something different than you. I've been trying to practice lately just for fun and giggles. You guys ever trade for fun? You ever trade for fun, or is it always just a fucking nerve wrack? You're like, oh, I'm going to get this right. It's one of the things most investors fear is getting it right. What if you just don't give a shit if you get it right? Like, I don't know. Let's see what's up. And then here's one of the things that I've been doing this last couple weeks, just for fun, man. I called it test system. This is all you see, bro. There ain't no indicators, man. Well, there's a couple. RSI, and all I care about is A and B. That's it. Just watching the top and the bottom. And then I'm just staring at price. And I have this on a pad. I blow it up. And I stand there for 6.5 fucking hours watching price. Tick up, tick down, tick up, tick down, tick up, tick down, run. And I'm listening to music or doing something else. Maybe I'm right. Maybe it's right in front of you. Maybe I'm holding it in my hand. Maybe I just stare at it and stand in flow. Could that help or hurt me? Think of all the time-wasting, dumb shit you've done over your life. You ever just sit with price? Are you busy? I'm so busy, Gerald, I can't do that. Imagine if you could. What if you were so in fucking tune? And I don't mean every day. But you can take this time frame up, right? You can take it to a 30-minute. Every 30 minutes, you look at this thing. Start to kind of see patterns emerge. You see any patterns emerge? So if where'd that one go? Hold on. Let's see. Can you see a pattern emerge? This was a weird off day. This day didn't really happen on a bunch of charts. You had this weird off day. But if you're just looking at this, I mean, that's what they call resistance, right? And there's a bottom. Let's run it across. Ignore this candle here. It's pretty close, huh? So we have a thing inside the money flow called back in the box. Back in the box is a level is broken. And these levels is more art than science. And so for me, it's just kind of an area. And we could make it wider if you wanted. That would encompass this whole thing. And I think that's a better way of doing it than being scientific. Because what I'm trying to find is a pattern. And depending on what my purpose is for the pattern, if my purpose is to build out my portfolio over years to come, and I look up in Wells Fargo and I'm like, geez, is Wells Fargo going bankrupt? And it's like, no, not as far as I can tell. And then you might go read, but maybe instead of going Wells Fargo, what you could, I got a friend that's got hundreds of thousands of dollars of this stock. Hundreds of thousands. How would you be doing right now? How you feeling, baby? When you got $250,000 at 48 and it drops to 39. I've had to walk kids off ledges because their 10,000 in Bitcoin went to 5. This mofo's got, I don't know, 300,000 in this stock. Can you handle that? Are you like Uncle Daddy who's got 10 billion? Is it 10 or 30 billion of Bank of America? Let's see that stock. Are you calling the White House? Are you like, hey, Joe, let me in? But, Gerald, shouldn't we sell the stock since it's fallen so far? I get asked that a lot, man. I get asked that a lot. Hey, all you bastards on YouTube, click that fucking like button. I feel like a child. I got to ask this shit all the time. How about you just do that because you showed up, man? I hate that. I hate that influencers have to do that shit. Well, while you guys are here, why don't you smash the... Why don't you just do it because you showed up, man? How about give back to people? You tip your waitress, don't you? The way you tip an influencer is you click fucking like and you leave a comment. The fact that you got to curse in church about this shit and that say people over and fucking over is ridiculous. Here's what you do. Don't click it. Go watch someone else, man. That's what I say. Get the fuck out of here. That's what I say. I want a button that shows me who doesn't click it so I can block them. That's what I want. They'd be like, dude, why can't I? Because you don't click like, bro. That's why I don't like a lot of friends, man. They just disappoint me, bro. When you get a lot of friends, because here's what they do. They don't do what they say they're going to do. You know what I mean? People look right at me. Gerald, I'm going to knock out this debt, and then I'm going to go over here, I'm going to dig in, and I'm going to really dig in and sacrifice. And then 6 months later, it's like, oh, yeah, my wife wouldn't let me do that. It's like, I know, man, but you said you were a king. Can't even... Don't be that guy, man. You got everything you need inside of you to conquer these markets. God gave you a brain. God brought you the money flow. You ran into me. And goddamn it, I'm pissed for you. I grew up in a trailer park, and that pisses me off. Just by the way. And that a lot of my family are still there. And it ain't because they're disadvantaged, too stupid to have good credit, or stop getting arrested, or here's an idea, don't get your teenage girlfriend pregnant. I'm just saying, these are just basic life things. Sometimes I say, hey, man, you know what happens when that happens, right? If you don't graduate high school and you get arrested and you have a baby, your chances of ever getting into the middle class are pretty much zero. Now, we have the unicorns, but I'm just saying these are basic life lessons. This is why you got to listen to Warren Buffett and read his annual letter and keep up with what Uncle Daddy's doing, because he only does smart shit. You get what I'm saying? So you got to have people in your life that constantly do smart shit and keep you on track. They're pointing you in the right, not even, they don't need to call you. You know they're there, man. Just their presence. Their presence. Get some people like that around you, man. Don't need to be told to click on something. Just do it. Because that's the kind of person you are. Jesus said, by the way, I might add, it's better to give than to receive. So every video you watch and you don't click like, you're violating what Jesus said to do. And that don't sound like a good idea to me. This is Bank of America. Warren Buffett's got like 10 billion, 15 billion. Maybe somebody can find it. There have been multiple conversations between Biden's team in the past week, according to people familiar with the matter, who asked not to be identified because the information is private, like the money flow. You know, we got a private Discord, right? Every once in a while, some of you guys, I just send a message. How much you got in crypto? And they go silent for a bit. That's because they're trying to think, should I lie to him or tell him the truth? I'm going to start asking some of you, why ain't you got any Bitcoin, man? You don't have to have a lot. If everyone in the world buys Bitcoin, I'm going to be rich. That doesn't seem like a very difficult ask. If everyone on planet Earth buys $1,000, I will be rich. Think about that. Do the math. There's only 19 million Bitcoins. There's been crazier shit built. And a guy said, well, what if it went to zero? Well, I think everybody would survive a $1,000 loss. People spend $1,000 on cocaine and hookers in one day. Like, it ain't that big of a number. Everyone in the world is capable of coming up with $1,000. If you can't, you might as well end it now. Anybody can get $1,000. Anybody. Listen, I was telling this today. The other day I met a guy. He don't own stocks. He's 52 years old. Doesn't trust the banks. He's fucking crazy. Believes in all these conspiracy theories. And it's a lost cause, okay? But he's a pretty cool dude. But he doesn't own anything. He has no retirement of any kind. He's not even paying taxes. Like, he is off the grid, man. But he's around people I know. And I said, you have a phone? And of course he's got a phone. He uses Venmo and Cash App, and he's got some kind of checking account equivalent with one of those. I'm like, okay. He's not going to go buy stocks or get a brokerage. He's not following Uncle Daddy here into this trade. He's not long gold right now because he doesn't understand stock charts. He doesn't understand the opportunity that's unfolded right in front of his eyes. He thinks it's a conspiracy theory by the Illuminati to destroy America. I'm like, okay. Maybe. Fuck, man. I don't know. In the meantime, I see an anchor point, which is the money flow, meaning price comes down and it stops. And then what I'm waiting for is it to start going sideways. And here's what I'd like to see, especially if I'm trading. I want that thing to break above this 5-day exponential moving average. That means price today is higher than the price in the last 5 days. So if you drove by and gas was $1, and you drove by the next day and gas was $1.10, the average just went up by 5 cents. And then if you drove by the third day and the price was $1.30, the price would have increased by 10 cents on average. Do you get it? That's called an average, a moving average. All this is, and it's not magical, all it is, this little dot you see here, is the average price of the last 5 days is $39.24. And if price is below that, the direction of price is down. And by definition, that's called buying a falling knife. Now, people throw that shit around. They don't know what that means. I just fucking defined it for you down to the exact day and what price looks like. If you buy this, and you can, just understand there are better ways. There are better ways. That's when you get alert. And, oh, let me show you something, man. Hey, stay with me, man. You can come back and watch this later. I know some of you got a honey-do list to do. All right, all you ladies, don't listen to me or watch me. Go tell them you need to buy a property here real quick, like. You know what's weird, though? Most of the situation where it's a woman that is in the money flow or in our our book, by the way. The husbands, they tend to, a lot of the people in the Money Flow gang own real estate. That surprised me. And I have a hard time sometimes with content because most of my wealth is in real estate. About a third of my wealth is in the stock market. I'm very passionate about stocks. It is my hobby, so to speak. Like my other guys hunt and fish to relax. I day trade stocks, swing trade stocks, position trade stocks, buy Bitcoin. That's what I do for fun. Nothing's more soothing and relaxing to me than to have a drink and watch the price of Bitcoin go up and down. And to other people, that's weird, or it feels like work, or some hard. And that gives me a unique advantage over other people when it comes to stocks. I'm absolutely fucking addicted. And that makes it easy to do it because you're doing it naturally. Anything you do out of a sense of natural balance. In other words, you're doing it free. It's just, I'm awake. When you can do that, that's when you become, Da Vinci. Like, can you make an art of what you do? And why is Da Vinci? I'm sure there were plenty of artists that were better than Da Vinci, but for whatever reason, we've kept him. And I'm sure there were plenty of people along the way, man. There's plenty of people that mastered the stock market in their own way. And the science of getting rich, which I think there's 3 components to trading. And the mindset and to investing too. There's a little bit of programming that's got to go on. You got to program yourself. If you've ever met my wife and spent time with her, you'll realize very quickly, not programmed toward the stock market. And that's through self-programming, meaning me putting that's how a piano player works, is they learn scales and then notes, and then they start practicing songs, and they play for fucking free, by the way. And so all of these guys, you made me cuss in church again. This is my notebook, and so I'm working on one right now. Takes me 2 or 3 days usually because I do a little stop. I think on things. I listen to stuff. I go check the charts. I dig into Barron, CNBC, and watching things. And then I come and look, and it's like breakouts. That's gold and bonds. We're in that new swings. And now this is going to be updated because if you remember on Friday, I got into, let's save this. UTSL. I know. I see the time. I'm being told I ran over. Don't interflow, man. When the spirit is flowing, just let it flow. I was on a podcast yesterday. I get invited to these podcasts, and I'm usually fucking disappointed, by the way. Well, Gerald, we have a 47-minute platform here where we, really? We're going to wrap it up? Are we wrapping it up now? I don't even feel like we got halfway into what we were talking about. Is your audience too stupid, sir, to listen more than 47 minutes? Or are they not capable of coming back to this tomorrow? Like, I have podcasts that I've been listening to for 3 days now. I listen a minute, I get bored, I'll come back to it. I need to get through it. But that same voice or the same whatever, I'm just not in the mood right now. I listen a little bit, let me listen to some music. And I come back to it. And I work my way through it. Why would you stop at 47 minutes? If you're listening, listen to what I'm saying. Should have let me keep going, man. I was dropping bombs. I could have changed some kid's life. Instead, we cut it for 45. We don't work for CNBC, man. I ain't got to stop fucking talking because that's a lot to edit. You edit it and post it part 2, part 3. It's part 6 in 7 months when you ain't got no content. You drop the other hour and a fucking half that we talked. I pause for effect. That's why I hate trying to help people with social, because they all do it wrong. None of them are just fucking in flow. They try to, I want to make sure my shirt looks well and this background is, it's like, let's just get in flow, man. Like, the game's over. Just let Kobe keep playing. We'll just watch him. Hey, Eddie Van Halen, stop, man. You already played your song. No, you get what I'm saying? It's like, man, why did we get to financial freedom and then lock ourselves into a 47-minute format, guys? What the fuck, man? I digress. But it's so hard to talk, Gerald. My throat gets sore and I need water. All right, this is a pattern, I guess. This is a pattern of utility stocks. XLU. Now, this has never disappointed me. Every time I open a chart, there it is. Never says, oh, Gerald, you've already looked 47 minutes. You need to stop now. Doesn't do that. That's just the people that I meet. Let's see. Over. That's why it takes 12 hours to get through the money flow. All you guys that think, well, red line cross green line, that's not the goddamn money flow, man. That is one little piece in this whole thing. So if you're just looking at, a lot of times I get, what moving average are you listening? Man, if you moving average is where your problem, you'd already be rich. Moving average ain't your damn problem. It's the movement of price you're not seeing. It's the fact that you think you need an indicator or a number or a green light or a blue thing to tell you what price is doing. I don't need a fucking indicator. Stared at a chart long enough, I can pretty much from a blind chart, if you hand it to me, draw a circle where it'll be crossing the 20. What is that? It's called mastering your craft, fucking practicing. So as I sit and stare, and now as I do it longer and longer, I only keep this shit up for you guys, man. I don't need any of this shit. I don't need any of this. None of this. I don't need any of this. Because I stare at price. Warren Buffett doesn't need this. He watches price. You know, unfortunately, we play a game that everybody gives leftovers to. Well, after work, I will, keep doing all this, the important shit after, at the very fucking end. Here's an idea. Just invest what's left. You know, oh, well, after I pay every other bill and after I do every other thing, I'll take the very last little bit, this little crumb here, and I'll invest that because I really want to get wealthy. And that's what people do, and they give lip service to this shit. You ever bounce a check because you bought some stocks? I do it all the time, embarrassingly. Oh man, was it you, Michael, that said that? You did he overdraft because he bought some crypto. Proud of you, by the way. Now, that's not good behaviors. I get it. But he didn't overdraft to buy some cocaine, guys. He overdrafted to buy some Bitcoin. You know why? Because you're obsessed. That's called obsession. Most people give this game the leftovers, what's left at the end, the worst of them, when they're tired, if there's a little bit, maybe. You get what I'm saying? Now, I know not a lot of you are like, what are you talking about, bro? It's all, I know. I'm just telling you. And you can't do that. So if you're new, it's not some shit you just kind of, well, as you have, like, no, man, this becomes part of your day. You know, when I walk in to look at a house, it's not a big fucking ordeal. I'm checking the plumbing. I'm looking at the, like I have a pattern. Same thing here as I watch price. Use these indicators. Now, I have them on there. I'm just saying I don't need them to see a breakout almost every time I can show you. Because why? Price is going up. It's the opposite of going down, right? So as I watch this here, and this is Wells Fargo coming down, look at this blast below the 200. So we are seeing what's called opportunity. This is banks blasting through the 200, okay? It may not be the bottom. We might do a whole nother leg down. Let 10 banks fail next week. You're going to see this sideways action on the KRE. You're going to see it drop again. Would I buy the one down here? Nope. I'm waiting for what? Anchor point. It's the same, man. Anchor point. The only time you'll see me deviating from that concept is, I'll say, audible. What is an audible? I'm just years of experience, been in the market. This is completely fucking ridiculous. The news reason, and I don't use news, but from time to time, you have to look at the reason for the price deceleration. And when you understand values, what is a business worth? What is your stock worth? What are you basing that on? You know, you can't buy Rivian because it's in fucking Reddit. And that's your reasoning. It's like, no. Have you been to the website? Is it real? Yeah. Are they actually making cars? Yes. Do they have money in the bank? Yes. Okay. Have you put some effort into studying? You see the earnings. You know how much money they're losing. and you sit and you read and you think. And the science of getting rich says thinking is the hardest work to do. It's easier to paint than it is to fucking sit and think and read. Reading is hard for people. Just sit down and tonight try it. Sunday, sit down, read Barron's. Watch your mind start to fiddle. Read it, man. And, you know, I do. I read. What I do is read all the time, every day, just throughout my day. As I have time, I'm reading. Same with CNBC. And find your sources, man. Be careful of all the ones that are marketing. All right? I brought this up. I try to avoid this shit. These guys are constantly fucking marketing. And Motley Fool and fucking Seeking Alpha and all that bullshit. Most of those people on there don't even own the stock, man. I guess if you're into this concept of social market research, here's the problem, man. It's hard for me. I understand why an analyst doesn't own the stock. They're not allowed to. I don't get it, but they're not. You can't own the stock you cover. It's crazy to me. It's hard. How do you advise? Yeah, I think you should buy this, and you don't own it. That's confusing to me, but they're not allowed to. So analysts don't own the stocks that they analyze. And what they're supposed to do is look at it with a clear, conscious, open mind and say, is this a good deal or not? What's this company worth? That's what I'm most concerned with. What is this company worth? Are there stocks that have been... Now, let me give you another way to play this. Now, I hope you saw on ERX, I'm cutting it because it's going down to buy this because it looks like the pattern, it's starting to go up. Now, what if it's not? Well, then I got it wrong. But I need money. I'm not going to pass on a breakout because I'm going to lose money on a stock that was over here that just broke down, which is the exact pattern of this, by the way. So I'm not going to go, well, I can't buy the utility stocks that are breaking out because I want to hold this fucking loser that keeps going down. If I'm trading, now I'm not talking about a stock there. ERX is a 2 times leveraged ETN note. It's not an actual stock, guys. It's a derivative. Like the shit that bankrupted us in 2008. Derivatives. It's a derivative of price. What's another derivative of price? BITO. Watch. BITO. What is this? ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. Okay, when you see this word, strategy, what do you mean, strategy, Gerald? What is a strategy? Well, this thing buys futures contracts so that they can peg the price of Bitcoin. Well, guys, they could fuck it up. The peg could be wrong. They could mess up. There could be computer issues. But right now, it's tracking just fine. So guess what? I trade this thing. This is a tradable thing to the price of Bitcoin. People are like, but I don't want to buy Bitcoin, Gerald. I don't understand it. Okay. I don't know what to say, man. Bitcoin's at $9. Now it's at $16. Still trying to get people in. What people don't like is how far it can drop. That's called volatility. If you follow my Instagram story, if you do, now the cool people are on my Instagram subscription, but I digress. I get to show them cooler stuff. I think I showed you my Walking Dead comic book collection, didn't I, the other day? The limited edition. See, the first edition, there were only 5,000 copies made in 2002 or 3, but way before the TV series. And they took that. Well, when the TV series came out, they reprinted edition 2, and there's all these comics that flooded the market. Well, I have the first 128 of the very first edition, where the first, 15 or 20, only 5,000 were printed. I think that's pretty cool. But that's called limited supply. There's only so many. That's why I want to own that. Well, there's only 19 million Bitcoins, by the way. That's a huge move in this, huh? So we were buying some down here. Now I'm doing this inside of M1 Finance where I have leveraged funds. And I have this in ARC. And besides that, I have TQQQ, UPRO, and TMF, which is triple bonds. And that's in one I've been running for a while. I call the Sky Dweller Fund. It's kind of a public experiment. I stopped posting about it too much because people run off and do it, don't quite understand what they're buying, and then they freak out by the price movements. Here's another one. This is the TMF. This is bonds, treasury bonds. Now, this is a leverage play on it. If I'm a trader, I'm looking for these. What is that? As a trader, inside of the money flow, that's this over here, stage 1. Uncle Daddy is looking for this. He's looking for the shit show. Bring it in. He's going to start nibbling. He's got to get billions in. He can't wait on an accumulation phase. He's got to start the damn accumulation phase. And you're like, what do you mean? Meaning he's got to put a lot of money to work. Buffett has a long history of stepping in to aid banks in crises, leveraging his cult investing status and financial heft to store confidence in ailing firms. Bank of America won capital injection from Buffett in 2011. Did your daddy buy any Bank of America in 2011? Did your uncle? You see why we call Warren Buffett Uncle Daddy? He's your daddy and your uncle that ran into the fire. Most people run out of the fire. It is an easy meme to say, be greedy when other people are fearful. It's really easy to say. If the stock market drops 20, 30, 40% next week, next month, you're going to see our Discord group go very crickets and very tiny. People will quit. It'll be like, and you say, oh, not me, Gerald. I know. I've been doing it 4 years now, okay? It's called a fucking pattern and a cycle because the stock market moves based on fear and emotion, not logic. Because anyone that was logical and used math would not be worried. They would double down. They would start buying more. They would allocate resources to this. They'd probably start working more at work so they could get more money. They'd see it as an opportunity. They'd know the average bear market lasts 18 months to 20. You got people freaked out because CVS dropped a little bit. You think they're going to survive a fucking 18-month bear market where it just grinds down every fucking day, lower and lower, and their money's down by 50%, and your husband's like, oh, I thought you were going to get rich in the stock market. And people break out, and they blow out. Now, with this guy, Uncle Daddy Buffett's done, he's been through enough of these now that he's just like, are you guys about done selling yet? Chips in, baby. Give me some Bank of America. Guys, look at this chart. Somebody was selling the shit out of this. I mean, look at this. There's a lot of bank stocks being sold. Now, don't be so delusional to think, well, no, that was everybody that sold was on the short side and they all made money. Bullshit. These are people blowing out, man. These are funds hitting the door. They're raising capital. They want nothing to do with this sell-off. But what if you don't need to sell your stocks? See, if you're on margin, you borrowed your hedge fund, you may have to adjust your exposure. I don't have investors. Don't really give a shit if somebody's bothered by the price. Meaning I'm in control. So the Peters Fund's run by me. I ain't got nobody, I'm not accountable to anybody but me and God, my own family. So if I don't need the money and these idiots start selling it off, I can use the money flow and I can see the pattern right here. I mean, you ain't got to be too bright to see this, right? And I guarantee if you go on this day right here, there's a shit show and a lot of bad news. I have no doubt of that. A lot of times they're like, why would you buy this? Have you read? Yeah, I know. It's terrible. It's awful. That's what opportunity looks like, guys. It never looks good. I'm looking at a couple houses right now. The guy wants $175,000, 2 houses on one lot, and one of them ain't got a roof. Meaning the blue tarp caved in. There's a 12 by 12 hole in the roof. You know that's damaged the sound. That's destroyed that subfloor. It's been raining in the goddamn house. You guys ready to go? I get people like, hey man, could you look at this deal? I noticed there's some cracks in the wall. And I'm like, oh, cracks in the wall? Oh no, we ever do. I was going to get it, and the paint needed painting, and there was a crack, and one of the windows was busted. Oh, my. And it's like, bro, unless that house is totally fucked up, I am not interested. Why? Because I'm greedy, guys. You guys want to put together well-done property? Why? Are you scared? Well, I might not be able to fix it, Gerald. Maybe they won't have the parts at Home Depot. It's like, they got them there. Trust me. People were doing this long before you got here. They were fixing plumbing. If the whole thing is bad, they'll run a brand new piping system. If all the electricity is wrong, they'll restring it. If all the drywall is cracked, we can hang new drywall. If the subfloor is bad, we can put in new subfloor. And I know a place where they sell flooring and paint and insulation, and I know the number to a contractor. You get what I'm saying? Like, we can piece it together. And so, as I see that, I see opportunity. The average guy, I want you to think about this. If you've ever done a one-on-one with me, we start talking real estate. Everybody goes into PU mode, man. Well, what if they don't pay me? And what if this? And what if that? And it's like, okay, I kind of need all those problems to get a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a bigger shit show. But if a shit show scares you, all right, I guess we got to do it differently. I mean, I don't know, man. You want to get a deal? Like, there's problems. Well, guess what? There's problems in banks right now. There were problems in oil. So that's the risk. This is the unknown, and that's what we take on, and that's what separates the mighty. Oceanfront property is reserved for the mighty. By the way, what does that mean? It means you got to be able to deal with a lot of bullshit because you probably don't live there. You live somewhere else. Most people don't want trouble. I don't want to be bothered. Okay, stay poor. Warren Buffett. Buffett has a long history of stepping in to aid banks in crisis. Do you have a long history to step in when banks have a crisis? Well, I don't. I wish I did. Oh man, I wish I'd have just eaten up 2008. I should have bought the shit out of the banks. Instead, I was buying real estate. I did level up, but I didn't know what I know now. Buffett has a long history stepping in to aid banks in crisis, leveraging his, well, let me back that up. I knew I didn't have the courage. Leveraging his cult investing status and financial heft to store confidence in ailing banks. Bank of America Corporation won a capital injection from Buffett in 2011 after its stock plunged amid losses tied to subprime mortgages. Buffett also tossed $5 billion here and $2 billion there, just $1 billion, lifeline to Goldman Sachs in 2008 to shore up the bank following Lehman Brothers holdings collapse. All of Lehman Brothers' assets right now, there's still a trust that's paying off things, by the way. Let me tell you something your uncle or your daddy don't know. Is in a stock called AVB. AVB. Listen up. All of Lehman Brothers holdings right now are in a stock called AVB. It's trading at $161. It is a giant REIT that owns real estate all over America. It's trading below the 200, and it's doing a money flow pattern, as you see. It is down because it is directly tied to banking, directly tied to regional banking, by the way, which a lot of things that are tied to interest rates in banking are. PNNT is one of my long-time holdings. I've owned this 6-7 years now. Look at the price this thing has come down. I'm shocked. It's below $4.99. This is Pentateuch Park. The guy that runs this is named Arthur Pentateuch. Go read on this. He's a baller, rich-ass mofo. And he owns millions and millions and millions of shares of PNNT. He's since branched it out. There's PN whatever T. There's 2 others. Go to the website and read. What this dude does is put money on the street, and he tries to leverage it. He goes and borrows against the assets they have to get money from the Fed, take it out and lend it on the long side. Very connected to banks and interest rates. But this is a guy you go to when the banks blow out. Well, fuck, if the banks are blowing out, maybe Arthur's going to blow out. And that's why you see pressure. But look where it's at. Now, I've collected dividends from this dude for over 7 years. During the COVID days, he didn't blow out then either. Let's see. So as an investor, the dividend yield on this is 13% now. That's 1% a month. A lot of money, by the way, for doing nothing. Let's back it up and see how did he do during the COV days. Good God Almighty. If you've been with me in Discord for all this time, remember how quiet it got? I got to where I didn't even want to log in. Nobody liked Uncle G. That's Grant Cardone, by the way. Look how far this fell. Nobody liked him either, though. Look at this. $1. I didn't sell my shares. I got restricted on Instagram for calling everybody the P word. It was offensive, they said. I just wanted you to hold your ground because this company paid dividends during the whole time. And the dividends I got at $1.07 bought me hundreds of shares in this range here. And it kept buying them. And then when this thing got up here, my position was enormous because my dividends that were $200, $300, 200 and something dollars bought 100 share pops. And my brilliant move was just staying with my portfolio. Didn't do anything. I just did nothing. And it bought me all these shares. And then it ran up. Look at this. And now it's coming down. It could go all the way to here if the conditions are right. Maybe I should prepare myself for that now. That's the mental side of this thing. That's the courage part. That's the faith part. I mean, you got to work on that every day, right? You got to work on that every day. Like every day you're playing, like you can't be taken back by, oh, what happened? Like you better be a fucking shark when that happens, man. And everybody here could have got rich on this one stock that we have inside our portfolio. And if you go over, oh man, I just lost it. Pull this up, man. And I've sold none of these since running the MFG, by the way. Nor will I. I'll die with them. P.S., by the way. These here. This thing just keeps growing and growing. I got to update this. It's not 28.6 anymore. It's like 30-something. And Ford, who cut their dividend, I was able to buy more, but gave me one before cutting it that bought a chunk of shares. And then here just the other day, they did a special dividend. And I collected like $650 in this stock. And if we go look at the chart, look where it's come down. So all of this volatility over here, I mean, that was an amazing opportunity. After a big thing comes down, we get our anchor point. There's my first buy. We said at the beginning, the money flow is stage 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't have to go from 3 to 4, but it usually does. But it could break out and go new stage 2 breakout, right? We know that. And if it was to stair step down, it still goes through the 1, 2, 3. It just then breaks down into another 4, and you'll have this leg down process of price just money flowing down at a giant angle. And here's the risk of investing, and the reason you got to diversify. As I look at these, some of them have not done well. Not all of them did as well as Ford. Not all of them did as well as PNNT. And so what if, say, you met me and you're like, through my influence, you're like, well, he owns that. I think I'll buy this one and this one and this one. And what if all three of those go down? So you see how the money flow works different for different people because you have different money. You're at different places in life. You have different experiences. You have different levels of faith and courage. You can say you're going to do it. But we'll see when you're tested, when they fucking lean on you, when they take your shit down 50%, let's see what you're made of, man. You talked a lot of shit in the beginning, and now when you get a chance to shine, where you at? Where you at? A lot of people talked about it's going to $1 million. Then they got quiet. Crickets. What happened? They had a meltdown, man. Some people got their shit jacked and stolen. That happens. Guess what? In life, you're going to get punched. You're going to have lawsuits. Your brother might die. Your sister might die. Your mama might die. You might get fired, by the way. Is that going to sideline you? If you get fired, I can't trade now, Gerald. Well, you better play that out now, man. That's called the bucket system. It don't do me a bit of good to teach you the money flow and moving averages. A lot of time, it don't mean shit, man. Don't just because I teach you a moving average ain't gonna make you a good trader. You got a lot of work to do. Like putting in work, man. Studying, reading, and getting in flow. I can't give anybody courage or conviction. Guess what? I'm gonna get some shit wrong. Looks like right now I'm wrong on Kohl's. This is gonna cut their dividends soon. I don't want anybody surprised when they do. I'm not cutting them. I brought them in. You don't get in this list easy. This is the buy and hold list, and that's exactly what the fuck that means. Period. That's the only way I've been able to make it work, guys. Because every time that the best opportunity approached, it was the worst of conditions, and that only an idiot would have bought it. And that's the only thing that's worked for me. The only thing that worked for me is I bought these and never sold them. And through that process, go read Buffett's new letter. He did the same thing. 4 of them just killed it. About 10 of them just flounder. 5 or 6 of them go really down. A couple of them go to zero. I've had 3 stocks go to zero in the buy and hold, by the way. 2 of them since we've been running the MFG. So if a stock going to zero is a problem for you, you're in the wrong game, man. Life is going to punch you in the face. So be careful all the memes you post and things you say you're going to do if you don't mean it. Because the universe will know if you're lying. And the first thing you got to be accountable to is you. You got to trick you. You got to program you. You got to pump you up, man. Better get fucking excited. This is opportunity. Go look on YouTube. They make it sound like it's a bad thing. This ain't a bad thing, man. If it's a goddamn bad thing, why is the richest man in the world going, hey, anybody need any money? He knows he may mess up, man. Buffett's had stocks go to zero. Berkshire Hathaway went to zero, by the way. That was a textile stock that he invested in that was a horrible investment. It was so goddamn bad, he decided to name the company after it. Why? You want to lead with your worst? You want to run into the fire, man. That's why it's hard, because it looks dumb. You don't want to buy that piece of shit house. Are you crazy? You do if you like equity. I want the roof caving in. Shit. Get a better deal. All that is 2x4s and chain, man. What does Buffett know? He's like, man, I got $100 billion. I could shore up any bank I want. So he's going to step in. Well, we want to follow him. Now, you're not going to be able to do it the same way Buffett's going to do it, but we can do it similar. Representatives of Berkshire Hathaway, which was a failed textile investment, by the way, and the White House didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. Officials at the U.S. Treasury Department declined to comment. U.S. regulators unveiled extraordinary measures to assure customers last weekend, promising to fully pay out uninsured deposits in the failed bank. In other words, and I believe there is no way in hell, Joe Biden, they want to give out money for the dumbest things I've ever seen. They damn sure are not going to let banks collapse. All U.S. small business is done here. If these regional banks go under, most of you guys are going to lose your jobs. The ripple effect will be so catastrophic that if they start letting regional banks collapse across America, this ain't going to matter anyway, guys. You're going to lose most everything, as far as price come down. And in my experience, it's never paid to think like that. Meaning the bet's not that. The bet is that people fix it. Sharper hairs prevail. People come together. So I'm seeing this as an opportunity, just like Buffett is, understanding this may not be the low. And so this is where the money flow is. That 70% of the time stocks go up. These bank stocks want to go up, guys. The slightest little turn, the slightest little nod, if Uncle Daddy steps in, if Trump doesn't get arrested, if Janet Yellen buys Bitcoin, if Kathy Woods, anything could happen. Michael Saylor, I don't know. Something could happen. And this goes from 43 to 60, and it becomes a little footnote. You remember the savings and loan crisis? Ask your uncle and your daddy what they were doing in 1980. Was it 2 or 7? When the savings and loan, what was going on then? Did you buy any? They said no. So this is one of those events. So if you're new to trading, you're getting your first little drama spaz out. There'll be plenty more to come. So this one is practice for you. What are you going to do about it? You don't have to buy banking stocks, by the way. I just said that. Which one that I've been picking up? MPW. It already got problems. And now you add this on top of it? It ain't done nothing but go down. I tried to call a audible right here and it went down. I'm going to buy some more, by the way. Maybe I'll be wrong. That's all right. It ain't the only thing I'm buying. Right? But I'm not trading this. It's not a trade. Right? That's not a trade. This is a trade for me. GGLL. So I want to trade shit going up. I want to invest in shit that's been down. Where's my target on this, by the way? Probably around $23. I don't know if it gets there. It's just been there before. And price has memory. It rhymes. But look what we're looking at here. We're looking for the signal, the Buffett signal. When we see that, we're going to be looking for the turnaround. So as a trader, for me, this is me. This is what I like to do. And I'm not selling all. I just like to sell some into strength. I listened to a guy yesterday that poo-pooed this idea. And I get what he's saying. It's so against my nature. I've been doing it so long that to go the other way, I feel like I did it. I got in on the stage one. I did not get stopped out because my stop's down in here. Look how long this trade took. This is a daily chart, guys. So when this happens, I get asked this the most, mostly by new people. Listen up. I am not getting out of that trade. It just got going. One day, if I'm doing the daily chart, I give it room. If I was on a 3-minute TQ chart, I would not get out of this if this anchor point is still holding. Okay? So if I got in here, that was my bottom. And I started buying here. I'm just starting to buy. And I might add over here. When it comes down here, all right, cool. Let me see if I get another one. So yeah, bro, the first bullish on that I'm looking to add. And then what? I can add again. I mean, I wasn't looking to get out. All we are is back to where we first started buying. So this zone can take a minute. Now, that leaves me open. Yeah, you gave up this little bit of gain over here and let it come down. I'd rather do that than get out and watch this bitch run up 300%. All right? I mean, that's just me. And I'm going to see this sell off here, not as a stage 4 decline. We never got going. We never ran up. We never hit a 3. We never completed the pattern. So I'm not seeing this as that. I can't even say that until we get down here. I'm seeing this as an opportunity to add to the trade that I started over here. I'm just showing you how Gerald Peters sees it. You could say, no, price is below the 20, 5, 10, 20's pointing down, blah, blah. Like you could say that. But if I've been in flow, I'm in flow from here, I'm up, I'm over. You see how I'm seeing it like this because I'm coming from it from here. I didn't just roll up today. Man, I hope you get that. So sometimes when I see conflict, it's just I'm still dancing with the girl that brought me, and you're seeing it as a new signal. Does that make sense? So I'm going to give it room, especially on this daily chart. Now, we get down, you're trading $100,000 of the TQ on a 3-minute chart, which we've been doing not that kind of volume. My God. But you can paper trade. That would be fun. You could join me. I'm in there watching. And if we're on a 3-minute, that's where I like to do most of the dirt. We're on a 3-minute. Let's just look at this for a second. Just visually. I don't even have the moving averages on there. Anchor point. There was one, right? And we know this is one. We're just doing the obvious. Maybe this was one over here, okay? But if we start to draw this out, how far down we want to come. I don't know, man. To me, this is the box broken and we're back in it, okay? So as I'm drawing it backwards, that's how I'm going to see it. And that's where we could differ. You could interpret things different. That's where the art part of, there is no system or strategy that's like automated and you just click, click, click. That's not what this is. Money flow is just a fractal pattern. The indicators aren't buy, sell, whatever. It's not that simple. It's I'm just using them to help me form this picture of price moving like this. And if I can somehow judge the value, and then if I can somehow judge the reward, whether I'm investing or trading would change the parameters. As an investor, I'm just looking to nibble on these. I really don't know why it's down. Maybe you want to dig into it. Maybe you're like me and you like to dig into it because it might set up for some trading in my trading account. So if I see Wells Fargo and I'm over here buying it in the buy and hold, well, I might want to buy some call options, right? I might want to pick up the leveraged ETF, banking ETF as a trade, which would be DPST. Does that make sense? So becoming an investor can make you a good trader. You don't have to day trade. You could do it on a week. I mean, you could do, like you don't have to, you can do a trade in Tesla or something and it takes weeks to months, man, if you're swing trading it, depending on your time frame. But I'm trying to build this out. That's the anchor point. I guarantee you that 5-day is right over in here. Let's put that on. Let's see. Maybe I'm crazy. Let's see. That's the exact candle I said. There you go. That's where it broke. So what do I got here? An entry and a stop zone. That zone's pretty wide, right? From here to here. So if I'm following the money, this is a 3-minute chart, guys. 3 minutes, Gerald, but my anxiety's going up. I know, hang with me, man. Just be in flow. Take a day off from work and just grab a pad and just watch the 3-minute chart as it flows in and out. You like trading, don't you? Some people might consider that a waste of time. I think that's a glorious fucking afternoon. And I love doing more than just sitting, looking at charts, sitting at my desk, reading, having a beer. I might open a beer at 9 a.m. because I fucking can. You're stuck in, I can't do this till 6 o'clock. They might say, well, you're an alcoholic if you drink. No, maybe. What if I just had that one? Because I wanted to with breakfast. See, in Germany, they do that. Only in America, they think you got a problem. In Germany, that'd be called having a normal fucking day. In France, you can just have wine when it is, hey, let's start with dessert, man. Let's do it. It's only in America that it's like all confined. Sir, it's like, this is what this can bring you. You see the pattern, right? Now, it gets wonky in real time because you have these. You see them? And as you try to follow it, and that's why I say follow in real time, because it looks easy looking back, but in forward time, in real time, it's not as easy. It's easy looking back. And moving averages and indicators can be very deceptive. Well, every time it crosses, the price goes up, and it's like, yeah, try that in real life, bro. And then add stop losses and target. Like, it's not as easy, man. But we can say that was the bottom. And we can't say price is now moving up because the average price is higher than the average price of the last 5 days. So today's price is higher than the last week. Well, by its very fucking nature, that's the definition of an uptrend. It's higher today than it was yesterday. Like, that is the beginning. And so we don't know if it's full. It hasn't broke out. And then what? Then it starts to break out right up in here. Now what? Now we're moving. What's the problem? We got a little overhead resistance right here. So the general direction is up. Right? Price is moving up. And look, you have a series of lower lows or higher lows. This low is low, higher than this low, right? But we have this little conflict. So if you back this time up, man. That's 3 minutes. Let's take it to an hour. What do we see? Wow, we just described the same thing. Now look at these moves. You might be, well, I don't have time. I'm busy at work. And Some people really are. Some people are just full of shit. Here's the anchor point. You didn't have a signal for another hour and a half. At some point, you went to the bathroom. You pull your phone out, and you're like, oh, shit. When's this bar close? And then you figure out when it's going to close. You don't want to buy it till it closes. And you're keeping an eye, and you're like, cool. So somewhere in here, you got long. This is on a 1 hour chart, the fractal nature of price. And look, come on, man. You see it? Now, got a little wonky right here. That's called a fake breakout, but that is still the money flow pattern. Went to go, breakout was almost nothing. And remember we talked about this. This is that one. I'm going to stay with it until what? Right there. Right there, it broke it. I'm out. This is a stage 4 decline. I don't want to own stage 4 declines if I'm, quote, trading. So if you're a trader, you don't own shit going down, right? Unless you're trading around positions. It gets different. That's a different class. I'm just talking, we're flipping items. So I'm a bust out here, okay? But if I did my mojo right, I'm buying there, and what? Uncle Daddy alert. Boom, reversal signal at the top. Now, if you're in real time and you're in flow and you're watching this and you look at the 1 hour chart, one time an hour, I know it's crazy. 6 things you got to do a day. How could I ever do 6 things in one day? If you were you would see that and you'd be like, God damn, I need to sell some. Bam. That's a sell signal. Now, we could figure out how you're going to get out of the position, but you got to sell some there too. And then what? Now we broke, we're out. So if we took enough off here, this little move down is not that bad compared to the money you made going up. And that's called trade management. So you're managing the trade. Now, the more confident I was this thing could keep going, I might back up one more from an hourly to the daily. And maybe I play this a little looser. Or maybe I look and say it's Friday, triple witching. Who the fuck knows? We're not going to play this really tight, man. We're going to take that much. Well, this was before that. This was the other day. This was last week. Sorry. But look at this. We started to buy. Zoom in, Instagram. All the degenerates. How much you guys make trading? Shut up, Jim. That's not even the right question. What's wrong with you, man? Listen. How much do you guys make trading? How much you need to be impressed with, Jim? What would impress you? How about a watch? I can show you my Rolex. Then you'll be like, man, GP's got a Rolex. He must be a good trader. We don't even need to talk about exponential moving averages. We can just look at your watch. What about your car? Well, I have a job, so I can't trade. Really, Jim? You can't trade? Do you go to the bathroom, sir? Do you take a poo-poo at work? Have you ever been to the bathroom at work? You can trade. See, what Jim is saying is true. If you can't do it, you can't do it. If you are fucking obsessed, you can do it. I worked as a prison guard. I traded stocks. I bought real estate. I worked as a prison guard, held a full-time business that I did running multiple yards. And in the evenings, I would look at stocks. I would look at the charts in the evening. I would place my order, which is a limit order. Jim, listen up, Jim. This is for you. You interrupted church with your question and your negativity. So we're going to fix that. All you guys, well, I can't trade because I have a job. No, you can look at the charts and you know if price gets up here, that's above the 5-day moving average. So you put in what's called a limit order and you'll be alerted by a little vibration. You might like it, might feel good. You'll be at work and you go, zzz, ooh. They're like, what's that? I got filled on a trade, man. And then you'd put a stop over here immediately or put them in at the same time, depending on your broker. You can put in the stop. If this is filled, then place this. If as in, then that. Now, I don't like to put those in like that. I like to manually do them, but I'm a degenerate gambler whose life revolves around trading, by the way. Every great artist I ever seen, their life revolves around their art. Every great rapper I ever seen, I never seen Jay-Z say, man, I'd love to rap, but I got to go to work this afternoon, so I can't be a rapper. He said, no, man, I'm a rap on the way to work. I'm a rap while I'm at work. I'm going to rap all fucking day long and annoy everyone that works around me. They'll be like, there goes Jay-Z. He's the rapping bus driver. Or you could be like Jim. Just say, I can't do it. Poor me. I can sneak off and play with myself, but I can't seem to find the time to trade. So if you ever wanted to trade, you could put in what's called limit orders. And if you learn the charts, you'll know when price gets here, it will be breaking above the 5. It's pretty obvious. And then your order would go in, your stop loss would go here. If price comes down, you'll be stopped out trading, thereby being notified. There you go. You had a losing day. Well, guess what you do the next fucking day? You get up, you check your charts, and you put in your orders. And if you do this every day, day in, day out, week come, and then spend a little bit of your spare time at night looking at charts, and you read some books, and you commit to your process, and you study, and you give it 1, 2, 3 fucking years, and you're like, well, 3 years? Yeah, I don't know if you know anybody who started playing the guitar and 3 years later was putting out albums. In my experience, it takes time to get good, to master something, to find something that'll fit your little brain and your time and what's going on with your life. Meaning I could hand you my strategy on paper. You are not going to be able to implement it the way I do. You don't watch the market 6.5 hours a day. And I did that while I was at work, by the way. Let me tell you how I learned to trade. I would photograph pieces of books on trading. At the time, the hottest book on trading was Trading for a Living. I would photograph pictures of the book. I would go to Office Depot, Jim. Listen up. I would go to Office Depot because I worked as a part-time prison guard, 2 10-hour shifts. You cannot take shit into a prison. I would photograph the books in 5 and 10-page increments, put 5 in one back pocket, 5 in another, and often I'd get through it wouldn't look like I had anything on me. And I would literally sneak in contraband, which was trading information. And I would sneak in a pencil because we were supposed to just have pens. And I would look at charts and I would draw circles and I would print off random charts and I would look at them while at the prison when I wasn't fucking supposed to because I'd rather be a trader than a prison guard. Pause for effect. And that's how you become good at something. Everything else takes a back seat. It doesn't mean you stop doing it, but it takes a back seat. And my professor, one thing I like about the day trade professor, now we trade different. Obviously, I'm a much sharper dresser and nicer hair. But he's getting there. One thing about the professor that I like, and the reason I agreed to meet him, people ask me all the time, hey, Gerald, why don't you come to our thing? No, that's all right. Because you're probably going to cut me off 20 minutes into talking. And the one thing I liked about the professor is I asked him about stocks. He said, man, it's impossible. The reason I asked him, I said, why do you think most people fail what we're doing? He said, oh, that's easy. It never started. What do you mean? He goes, it has to be everything. You can't become a famous rapper doing it sometimes. Meaning it has to become one of the most important things in your life, and it's non-negotiable. Like everyone around me knows this. If you come to my house, charts are up. In my living room, I have a board where I have stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the morning, we are only allowed to watch CNBC or Fox Business. That's it. Period. Fuck nuts. Not discussing it. Not up for discussion. This is what we watch. And like I have to. It's for my family, guys. They have to help me with this. That's one of the things they do to help me is accommodate me so that I can keep in flow, man. And there's times that I'm like, hey, I need you to do this because I gotta be at my desk at 2:30. And so I began to move things around, and it's like, and I've done that since I had a job to didn't have a job. And luckily, when I had a job, all my trading was in the afternoons. I would look and see the stock here, and I'd say, well, if it gets up into 22,000, that means it broke the 20. And I'd place an order there, and I'd say, if filled, I'd like a stop here. And sometimes it would false break and break me out. And I'd come back the next day and be like, fuck, dude. And I would download and I would have 3 to 4 trades going every day. All of my trading money was in 3 or 4 trades. And that's how we were trading. It wasn't like today. And for me to buy, to execute on a trade was like $20, man. It was like, well, it started, it was almost $30. It was 29, whatever. You get what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I have all my dividends set to drip right now, which includes Zim. So, Jim, if you wanted to be a great trader, I could help you. Well, I could help you be a trader. I don't know if I could help you be great. I don't know if you got greatness in you. If you got greatness in you, I could help you. I don't know if you're listening right now, sir, but I started hitting up old Discord members. Like you quit 2 years ago, I send you a message. I want to know if you're richer or are you poor? How you been since you separated from me? Since I hurt your feelings? How you been since I told you to stop talking about that dumb shit in Discord because it has nothing to do with the money flow? And you got butthurt and you left. How you doing? Your coach ain't in your corner anymore. He ain't calling you out. How you doing? Already getting feedback, man. It's not so good. It's not so good. And it ain't me. They just stopped. I blew out a bunch of accounts, man. That's called paying a price. Hopefully you don't have to do that. And that's not investing, by the way, which is why I try to get it. You need to have your investing bucket. I don't care who you are. If you're 18 years old, you should have a dividend stock portfolio. You don't have to put all your money in it all the time, but you should be putting money in it some of the times. You have 10 fucking dollars, okay? Whoever you are. So you can have that going. Check. Now what? Now we got our brokerage account that we do position trades. Anyone in America can do this. You open the account. It's a brokerage account. You're going to have the Airbnbs, the dashes, you're not going to, if they go down, good. Holy Christ, you want them to go down. So these are going to be the companies that build America. If you own Google shares right now, over the last 10 years, did you want it to go straight up or were you happy that periodically it crashed? So we got to move past that shit fast. And if you can't get past that, you're fucking doomed. Okay? You need volatility. So this is what happens with the money flow, man, is it's a religion. So if you're all fucked up in debt, that's your first priority. Because if you got all this debt, you're not going to be able to invest and trade and buy shit. You know, when I'm going, hey man, I'm buying some Bitcoin, you're like, oh man. And guess what? You can buy $5. That's the world we're in, man. You can buy $5. And the last time I checked, repetition is the mother of skill. And you're telling the universe, I want to play. I don't have much, but what I do have here. There was a guy who came to Jesus and said that. I don't have much, man, but all I have, you can have it. And Jesus took it too, boy. And they say, why would you take her last bit of oil? She could have sold that and fed the poor. And he said, nah, man, shine my feet. It's a true story. Go read it. Why? She understood where abundance came from. Think on that, man. It's that parable of the 1, the 10, the 5, and the 10, man. Powerful stuff. You ain't even got to believe in God. It's just old school wisdom, man. There's a lot of wisdom in Buddhism, Islam, Christianity. There's some goofy shit too in all three. But there's some wisdom, man. In that Old Testament, there's some wisdom to making money, to having money. And if you watch what's happening in the world right now, that bank blew out just like your friends will blow out. Go out and buy that big dumb car, have car payments and no brokerage payments. You better have more mortgage payments than you got car payments. I met a guy the other day asked, how many car payments you? He said, we got 2, one for the wife, one for me. How many mortgage payments you got? We got 1. And I said, well, sir, let me let you in on a little secret to success and wealth. Have more mortgage payments than you got car payments and you will get fucking rich, son. What do you mean? Meaning, I'd be terrified to have more car payments than mortgage payments. See, properties go up, produce cash flow, and build wealth. Cars go to fucking zero. It's not a complicated math, sir. If I can get you out of debt and get you to understand that you want a lot of mortgages, but you want to buy them correctly, and you want a lot of dividend stocks and you want them to crash often, because we can be like Mr. Buffett. Warren Buffett is in contact with Biden team on banking crisis. Berkshire Hathaway, which was a stock that went to zero, by the way, research that. Warren Buffett has been in touch with senior officials in the President Joe Biden's administration recent days the original banking crisis unfolds. Now, and I'm going to end with this because I've been saying this a lot. I put this on my Instagram story. I don't know why everybody on here don't subscribe to the subscription one, because that one video I dropped the other day was really good, I thought. Anyway, I digress. Listen, Buffett said in his letter it took him 7 years to build his Coca-Cola position and then stop. Why did he stop? By then, it wasn't as valuable anymore, meaning there were other companies that presented a better opportunity. There was a time when American Express was much cheaper than Coca-Cola was. And so he began to accumulate that. And it takes, on average, for me personally, GP, about 5 to 7 years. So I get what he's saying in 7 years, to build a position big enough that I kind of just stop messing with it. And I just collect the dividend. And if I look back on Pepsi, it was about 5, 6 years of buying Pepsi, all the stage ones, and all of a sudden my position is $10,000, $12,000 over 5 or 10 years. And then it doubles. And now I'm at 20, 22, and I'm like, well, I don't want to buy that. I got 22,000 of it. Why don't I go buy Coca-Cola that crashed last week, and I'll buy that stage one? And I start dribbling into that. Well, it's going to take me 5 to 7 years to get a full position of that. And if you look at BX, like I bought BX for, I don't know, 5, 6 years, man. So if you own it, this right here, this $72 is your opportunity. So every time you have one of these, you would come over to the money flow, like old Jim over there. Well, I'm too busy being busy to get rich, Gerald. I've got so much other stuff going on that I can't get fucking rich. A lot of people, you're so busy working for someone else, doing a job that you'll probably be outsourced or lose, and you're spending all your money, and then you're going to look back and go, God damn, I don't even remember being at work. You're working a job you hate. If you give a job you hate 8 hours, you got to give yourself at least 4. Spend 4 fucking hours on getting rich every day. Watch what happens to you, man. I spend all day, but I get it. Some people aren't as quick. I got a haircut today, by the way. So Ford only interests me because I'm still building my position when it's down and dirty. I don't care about this shit. I'm not a seller. You go, what about the RSI? Not a seller. If I'm trading it, I'm a seller. We have a trading strategy called the bread and butter, and that confuses people sometimes. It's like, yeah, man, how do you want to use the money flow? There's a lot of ways to use the money flow, man. You got to put your mind into it. The Science of Getting Rich says the hardest thing you will ever do is just fucking think. So think through. What are you doing? What bucket is this in? Is it in the buy and hold bucket? Well, then buy and hold. Use the stage ones to accumulate. If a position becomes overvalued, do you guys remember? As you go through with this, you're going to be like, damn, oh, geez, he's a wise person. He's so brilliant. It's like, no, I've just been doing the same basic shit over and over. So if you remember, over here, what did I say? And it's no brilliance on mine. Okay, I want you to get this. I would not buy oil stocks here. First off, it's not even extreme. Second off, that's not on sale. If you go look, most of the oil stocks right here are overvalued. There's a lot of ways to determine that. You don't need to have a degree. Simple subscription will tell you that. Morningstar will tell you this right here. They'll tell you exactly what the fuck it's worth. It's not complicated. No more than going to, if you needed to figure out what your car was worth, you'd figure it out. Or what a house is worth. You just look around. And there's a very basic way of doing it. And it's the same in the stock market. You just didn't stay in college long enough to learn it. Other people did. And that's what they make money doing. So I give them $200 a year to tell me that. And when they said right here, it is overvalued. All right, cool. I could trade it because the trade's got a stop loss. But as an investor, no. Now we're finally coming down. Now, not a big difference here. I need to see this shit down here, man. To get me in there on it, I'm greedy, though. I want the roof caving in. I want it fucked up. Why? Because I'm greedy, man. I believe in this. I believe in this. I'm not trying to be rich, Gerald. I feel like if I said that, too much would be asked of me. I don't want to put myself in a position of responsibility and education. I want to have an excuse to fumble through life, and I'm just kind of free with the spirit. It's all right, bro. I am making fun of you, though, because that is all bullshit. I put God first. So did King David. King David was super fucking rich. So did Solomon, and he was the richest man in the world. Plenty of rich Christians, by the way. If you understand investing, you can be a rich Christian. If you understand investing, you could be a rich Buddhist. You could be a girl. You could be a boy. You could be a girl in love with a boy. Let's see. If you got a family house, no debt and money, bro, you should be rich really quick. Let me show you something, Jim. And I'm going to show it for Jim, and then I'll wrap up. I know I've been going a long time, man. Oh, I can go forever on the money flow. Look at this. Look how pretty this is. Dude, I see this shit, and I'm just like, if I walked in your house and you had a monitor on the wall in the living room, you would be and it had this stuff, you'd be the coolest motherfucker I ever met. And I've met very few people other than myself. Sometimes if you come to my house in New Orleans and you're in the bar, I have my videos playing in the background. You're like, why? Because I'm the only motherfucker that I see showing you this. And I need to see it over and over and over. I'm also very into what I do. That's called the alpha code, by the way. I think I'm so goddamn entertaining, I watch myself. It's called the alpha code, by the way. Anybody talking about this stage 4 decline where the RSI is extreme and a possible stage 1 setting up is in my group, man. Like I'm your kind of people. So if I was walking your living room and I saw this chart, I know what that is. You got a Wells Fargo chart in your house. I'm fixing to commission a painter to paint this for me. I'm having all my stairs going up. Stage 1. You're going to see the painting. It's going to be an oil painting. Ain't nobody more committed than me. I got candlesticks tattooed on my fucking body. Then there's Jim. Then there's Jim. And Jim is right. Jim has no chance. Instagram, Jim is a guy on YouTube who says he can't be rich, can't get rich. And he threw in serve God first. I think God would want you to be rich because it's kind of hard to give if you don't have. In order to have, you need to go get it. So it's kind of hard for God to use poor people. But maybe they could pray for you. How about say, hey, man, I'll be praying for you. Why don't you write me a check, bro? Fix the problem. What if you could do that? What if you didn't even need to pray for people? You could just stroke checks because you were so rich. Imagine what God could do with you, Jim, if you had a bunch of money. Instead of talking, you could put shit to action. You could like feed homie, just say, hey man, how much you need, man? Every time you go to dinner, you leave them a 50. Every time you go to the bar, you leave her a 20. You're just spreading prosperity. I try to leave a 20 everywhere I go. Just here's a 20 for you. Shit, sometimes on the way out, I'll see him like, and I didn't even get a chance to use that bartender. I'll go back and hand him a 20. No bullshit. And I'm like, hey, next time I come in here, don't forget me, man. Miller Lite either. Don't be fucking around. They laugh. They remember me. I get service. They make money. The world is a better place. That's out of prosperity. Now, the guy penny pinching because God is first and I need to pay off my debt. He's not throwing out 20s to people. Just saying. This is the money flow, man. Right now we got Wells Fargo setting up, Bank of America setting up, bunch of them. But Jim, watch this. I want to show you something, sir. Don't go without seeing this. If I smashed on you, it's because I hate your negative statements. I hate your limitivity. I think my messages on my podcast and my things that I believe that anybody in America, regardless of age, race, or financial situation, can become not only financially independent, but rich if you gave a fuck and applied yourself for 7 years. This is a monthly chart of the S&P 500. Each one of these bars is 1 month. So right now we are on March 19th. That is this little bar right here. And this month here was last month. And this month here. And this is it. And if you step back, Jim, I want you to see something. Now, if I gave you a crayon and I gave it to you and I said, hey, son, connect the bottom to the top. He'd be like, well, Mr. Peters, I think it's here. And I think it's here. Yeah. And what if I ran this back all the way to 1850? That's before Yellowstone, by the way. All the way back. Prior to the Civil War. And this thing just went up. Now, the compounded rate on this is 9%. And if we go back before this, it's the same thing. And every once in a while, you get big sell-offs. You get a little one here. There's a little one here. That's 6 months, by the way. These aren't little. These are people blowing out on margin. There's COVID, by the way, right there. That's the history of it. That's the financial history of it, right there. From here to here. That was the low, and that was the high. And right here, during this time, there were people, oh, the market's going to be... And Jim could have bought some right here. And then his money would be up here. But Jim says it's impossible to get rich. And yet there's this thing on planet Earth that only goes up. And it pays dividends. And it's gone up your entire life, Jim. So if you go look at when you were born, the price was a lot lower. And then go look when your mama was born. The price was a lot lower. And gold was a lot lower. And that is a reality. And the reason Warren Buffett can do what he does is he believes that. He believes that over time, stocks go up. Right? Maybe not every stock. Some stocks mess up. He talked about that in his letter. The stock market goes up as much as 71% of the time. The problem is it's not a straight line. Price can and do only 3 things. And that's go up, go down, go sideways, man. That's all it can do, guys. That is all it can do.